As you can tell from the title of this video, I will be reading Colleen Hoover for the first time. I need some caffeine before jumping into this. Witch's Brew Alani Nu. They are back and I am the happiest person in the world. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Makayla and yeah, I'm going to be reading It Ends With Us in this video today. To be honest, I don't think I ever planned on reading any of Colleen Hoover's books. They're just so widely known but also widely hated that I didn't know if I wanted to read her stuff or not, so I just decided I wasn't going to. And then they turned It Ends With Us into a movie, and I went and took myself on a little movie date and went and saw it. So I went into the movie blind. All I knew about the story was from the trailer, which I feel like the trailer was very misleading and the marketing of the movie didn't do justice to the deep plots of domestic violence that are in the movie, but that's a different story for a different time. Anyways, like I said, I went in blind, and the lady that I sat next to in the theater, she was so nice. We were just chatting it up, and she has read a lot of Colleen Hoover, and I asked for her recommendation on, like, for someone who's never read it, what book would you recommend, and like what book is your favorite? And she said It Ends With Us was her favorite. And then after the movie, she said, yeah, the movie was good, but it doesn't do the book justice. Like, the book is so much better. So I finally decided that I would take the risk and read the book, because I really wanted to know why so many people love her work, as well as like how the movie differed from the book. So I'm super excited to get started, a little scared, but we are gonna do it. So let's get right into it. I am officially 100 pages in to It Ends With Us, and I thought I'd just share some of my initial thoughts. I'm gonna do a spoiler section at the end of this video where I actually talk about the plot differences between the book and the movie, but I will give you fair warning when that part is coming up. So nothing I'm gonna talk about is spoilers at all. But my initial thoughts is, I know in the movie they increased the ages of the characters. However, I feel like the ages in the book make so much more sense, just the actions and thoughts and feelings, as opposed to how old they made them in the movie. As well as, obviously, in most books that get turned into shows or movies, you obviously lose a lot of like small details that are in the book that don't get put in the actual show or movie, and that is definitely the case in this book already. Like, one of the biggest ones is the flashback scenes. They're through a diary in the book, whereas in the movie they just flash back, and I wish they would have included the diary because it kind of like made more sense and just gave you more introspective of her reflecting on the past, as opposed to not knowing if that's what she's thinking about at the current moment and you're just like seeing what's happening in the past. I don't know if that made any sense. However, I'm really liking the book so far. I do like the writing. I feel like a lot of people are very critical on books. I'm not one that it has to be a literary masterpiece in every single book I read. I am not that person at all, and by no means is this a literary masterpiece, but I'm still enjoying the story, and I think it does help I have seen the movie, so like some of the scenes I'm like picturing the movie in my mind. I don't know if that's going to help me or hurt me throughout the book, but we shall see. And I am enjoying it so far, actually, and I'm a little bit surprised by that. So I'm going to keep reading it. finished It Ends With Us, and I'm gonna do my spoiler-free review of it right now. Like I said, this was my first ever Colleen Hoover book. I definitely see where people come from, where her writing is not a literary masterpiece. She writes some cringy things sometimes. However, overall, I really did like this book. I read it in a little over a day. I was hooked, and I really liked the storyline, and I liked the pacing of the book. And yeah, I think overall I'm probably gonna give it 4 stars, and it does talk heavily about domestic violence. I wish they had put more of a trigger warning at the beginning of the book. They do one at the end where it's like domestic violence resources. However, I feel like there should be more of a trigger warning in the beginning because this book deals heavily with domestic violence. It is the pretty much whole premise of the book. So if that is triggering for you, I would not recommend picking this book up. However, I think it is a really great story to read. I really did enjoy it. I don't know if I'll read other Colleen Hoover books, and I simply read this because I did watch the movie. But yeah, so that is my spoiler-free review. Okay, we are moving on to a point in the video where if you have not read the book and or seen the movie and you don't want anything spoiled, click off the video now. I will be talking about spoilers, talking about the plot, the similarities and differences between the book and the movie. So once again, final warning, if you don't want anything spoiled, click off the video now because we are going to do a deep dive into it. So starting off, like I said, I went and saw the movie first, and I went into the movie blind. I only knew what I knew about the movie from the trailers, which I feel like the marketing for the movie was not how it should have been. It did not get marketed as a deep and serious movie. It kind of got marketed as a romance, and I feel like there was a fault there because I went in a little unexpecting. I did not know anything about it, and I did not think it was going to be as much prevalent on the domestic violence as it was, and I definitely think there should have been more warnings and trigger warnings in the beginning of the film. Same thing with the book. I definitely think there should have been more warnings because it talks in detail about these domestic violence situations, and it is a very serious topic that I don't think got addressed, especially in the movie's like promotion. They did not address the real problem and issue that is prevalent in the book, and that kind of bothers me a little bit that they didn't take the opportunity to advocate for domestic violence victims and survivors, and they really missed a mark with that one. But moving past that, I think in the movie I really did enjoy how they depicted the domestic violence, where in Lily's point of view at the very beginning when the things were happening, you didn't see a clear picture. You saw where maybe it could have been an accident, and I think that was much more validating in the sense of she was convincing herself that it was an accident, and you saw how she believed the scenes were happening, whereas in the end you get the clear picture where no, it was straight up domestic violence, and she finally breaks through that lens of love and sees it for what it was. And I really enjoyed the depiction of that because it shows that it's not always cut and dry, and it's hard to really accept that you're in that situation, whereas in the book right from the get-go she kind of understands that she was in that situation, but she kept taking him back, and that really frustrated me because originally she would put her foot down, like after the first hitting incident in the kitchen she kicked him out of the apartment, but then she just forgave him and let him back in, and that kind of frustrated me in the sense where she kept talking about how she wasn't ever going to let herself be in that situation, and she did time and time again. So I really did enjoy the movie's depiction and the changes that they made in the movie to where she really wasn't sure, and he denied it, because in the book he doesn't deny it and he accepts that, oh, he was wrong and that he did do those things and he admitted them to her. Whereas in the movie, he denied it and tried to play it off as it was an accident, and she was believing him. And I think that was just a much better depiction of real life situations, because it's so easy for abusers to gaslight you and make you think that what you're thinking is wrong and that not what happened really happened. So I really did enjoy that part of the movie. I wish they would have included the magnet and the journals in the movie. I think you could have included the journals without kind of the cringy Ellen portion of the journals where she's writing all of her journal entries to Ellen. But I think it was such an important piece in the book where he finds out about the journals and the magnet, and that's what really, on top of the article written about like his restaurant being dedicated to Lily, I think it really sets it up for that final breakdown and fight that happens. And I really wish they would have included that in the movie, because it makes it his breakdown over just the article. I don't want to say made that less realistic, because it's not. Obviously, people can break down over very simple things. However, I feel like we lost some of the intentionality of Atlas and Lily's story from when they were younger, and just how big of a connection that they had. And you really got to see it through her journal entries. And I feel like it would have made so much more sense in the movie if he would have found her old journals. It could have been she was rereading her journals, and then you would go back into the flashback scene like how they did in the movie, because throughout the movie they just sporadically included those flashback scenes. But I feel like it would have been much more impactful if they would have included Lily also reflecting and rereading her journals about those scenes, because it puts her back in the mindset of how much love and care she had for Atlas. And I feel like Atlas and Lily's relationship was rushed in the movie. I feel like it didn't have the true depth that it did in the book, and it made for the ending like a little bit less impactful, in my opinion. I feel like they didn't do Atlas and Lily's relationship justice in the movie. But I did enjoy that they kept a lot of Atlas's character true to the book, just the situations and his character in general. I really did enjoy it. Obviously, it's very known, like, you can't put everything that's in the book in the movie. It was already a 2-hour-long movie, and I think they did do a good job of creating the overall sense of this book. Oh, I just remembered. Another scene that I really, really, really wish they would have included in the movie was when Lily goes and talks to her mom when she's pregnant, and she tells her mom about the abuse that she's been facing with Ryle, and her mom talks to her and says she shouldn't take him back and that she's proud of Lily, and they go more in depth of why her mom stayed and how her mom wished she would have left. Where in the movie, it was just kind of 2 sentences of, why didn't you leave? And then it was because it would have been much harder to leave than to love him, or something like that. And they really didn't go into it. And I really found the scene in the book beautiful, because it showed her mom having that remorse for not being able to leave. And I really, really wish they would have included that, because that is such a big part of domestic violence, is having that support and the people behind you saying you made the right choice for leaving. And I really wish they would have included that in the movie, but they didn't. But they still included some portion of Lily asking her mom why she didn't leave. Other kind of small thing that I wish they would have included in the movie that they did not was Lily and Ryle's co-parenting and relationship while she was pregnant, leading up to like giving birth. Because in the book they talk about where she's still contemplating whether she wants to leave him or not, and she's trying to decide what's best for her baby's life. And I liked the conversations they had where he accepted that it was all up to her, and he wished he could have taken back everything, obviously. But I did like in the book where they addressed where she was still thinking about it, and they had those conversations where she was like, I don't know, I can't give you an answer, and I want to focus on like giving my baby the best life it can. And I did enjoy that in the book, because in the movie I felt like it was very sudden. You didn't see her contemplation very much, of where in the movie after she gives birth she just tells him, I want a divorce, and it's kind of very sudden, and you don't see the backstory of why she made that decision, whereas I feel like they did a better job in the book of describing that. And I'm very critical. Obviously you do your best in portraying a book into a movie, but there's just small things where it addresses more of the domestic violence situation and the decisions behind that I felt like they could have included in the movie that would have made it more impactful, rather than trying to promote it as like a romance movie. Because in the end, that movie should not be depicted as a romance. I feel like it should be promoted as like a very situational, I don't even know the word for it, but they should have done a better job depicting it as talking about deep topics as opposed to just being this romance. And that is one of my main qualms with the movie. Overall, I definitely like the book better than the movie. Obviously, you get a lot more backstory in the book that I enjoyed, and you just saw a lot more thoughts and build up of the characters and the relationships in the book that you didn't get in the movie. However, I really did enjoy the movie when I went and saw it. I cried a lot. I didn't have expectations going in because I didn't know what it was about, and it definitely caught me off guard. And it was a little upsetting to me just not knowing about that stuff going in and then being kind of shocked by it. So that did catch me off guard, and I really want people to have that awareness before going into the movie. I think there has been a lot of public outcry after the movie came out where everyone's telling people you should have this expectation going into the movie because it is not really addressed, and it should be. So yeah, that is my main thought. This is probably my one and only Colleen Hoover book that I'll ever read. However, I did enjoy it, and I liked the movie and I liked the book better. But it was fun to step out of my comfort zone and read an author that I haven't read before, as well as seeing a movie get adapted from a very popular book is always great to see because I love seeing authors' success. And yeah, I think that is where we're gonna end this video today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you had a great time, and I hope you like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube things, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!